Welcome to cold Shropshire. The sun is actually meant to come out today, but it is freezing. Something a little bit different today. As we all know, it's that time of year. Sheep farmers are stressed and busy. So yeah, I'm going to pop out and see a good friend of mine, see how he's getting on with his lambing. We're going to take a few cameras and hope that we capture something. So we shall see. Right, well, this is going to be a little bit different for us, James. We normally sit and talk about tractors, but we've got to focus on sheep.
It's going to be hard.
Not sure how we're going to do this, but
we'll
try.
We can only but.
So just remind everyone, what is it you guys do here?
We are a commercial beef, sheep and arable farm. We're farming just over, between our own land and contract farming, we're farming just over 800 acres. We have a pedigree herd of British white cattle, a flexible flock of commercial sheep, depends on the sort of market, buying in, selling, predominantly cull-ewed store lambs, and then the arable sides we are renting ground out for potatoes, parsnips, and then growing our own maize, fodder beet, we've just been digging yesterday, wheat, barley, rye, stubble turnips. So yeah, keep ourselves busy.
And you're also trying to grow your own flock sort of outside of the farm as well.
Yeah, amongst everything else.
So how did all that start then?
Really, I suppose the starting point was back when we were doing a lot of cattle showing with the pedigree British Whites. I was too small to be, physically handling the cows. Really, it was just too much, of a danger almost, because little me and a big heifer, who's going to win. So my dad and my brother did vast majority of the showing. I was still there. I was chief poo scooper.
Well,
you've got to have the important job. See, of course, great big white cows. As soon as you get a bit of brown on them, hard to get out. So I thought I quite like some sheep, because I thought I can, I'm big enough. I am big enough, and I thought I could show them, and I thought actually, that'd be a good idea. That would.
So do you still do some showing now then, or
with the sheep? Yeah, and the cows. Yeah, and the cows, but we'd take the sheep out, not regularly, but 3-4 shows a year. I looked into South Downs, Suffolk's, yada yada, and going round, believe it was Bath and West show, I spotted these Greyface Dartmoors. It was a bit of love at first sight. It was.
They are different.
They're different. They've
got a look about them, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. Fast forward to 2017. I decided I was going to go and buy 4 Shearling Greyface Dartmoor pedigree ewes, and it all kicked off from there.
And so you've been growing it?
Oh no, I've been growing it since 2017. Yeah.
Is that something you're still trying to build up now then? And still putting quite a bit of time into it?
Still growing the flock, but very much a focus on quality now over quantity. I don't get me wrong, I don't know everything about the sheep, but I've started to work out what I like in a sheep now, what I like the look of, what I want to breed from. So definitely going forward, quality is the main point of growth, really.
So tell us a bit about the breed then, James. It wouldn't be your everyday, wouldn't be what you'd see usually.
No, they're not quite like your Texel or your Charolais or something. So Greyface Dartmoors, they're now the improved Greyface Dartmoors later down the line. Back in the 19th century, when they were grazing the sort of lowlands and around Dartmoor and Devon area, they were crossed with local long wools to better the breed, I believe better the wool, better sort of conformation. Anyway, so people pretty much used to pay their rent off the back of a fleece, back when wool was actually worth something. Major part in, local economies, definitely.
Most of that was going for carpets, was it?
Yeah, so they're a long wool, they're very coarse wool, so really it's sort of carpet wool. I know some people have actually cut themselves on the wool.
Really?
It's that coarse. You have to shear them twice a year. You don't have to, but for welfare reasons, I like to. Being a long wool, obviously hot summers, you get a bit of muck on the back end, flies are soon in. So I like to, keep on top of the fly strike really. Being a long wool, they're susceptible to it.
So obviously it's a stressful time of year, would you say?
Yeah, in stressing the fact that, you're definitely connected with those sheep out there. They are almost your children. Being a small flock, you get to know them. It's not like we're lambing 200-300. We're not exactly the biggest lambing operation in Shropshire.
So you've actually invested in a camera this year, so you don't have to keep going out every half an hour.
Yeah, well, we've got cameras in the calving yards as well for the whites, so it seemed logical, really.
Yeah.
Recommend them to anyone. I tell you what, you will never go back.
So how has it gone this year then, James, so far?
Yeah, good. Thank
It's
you.
early days. But...
Yeah, we've only had 3, 4, 5 lamb. So early days. We're at about 140% at the moment yield. So throwing a lot of tuck lambs, funnily enough.
And what challenges do you face?
This time, definitely twin lamb's a big thing. Nutrition-wise, you've got to be on point with that, or else they can so easily just fall into,
Tell us how you control that then.
Obviously, you've got to get your feed right. It's all to do with your calcium availability, and magnesium's linked into it. Obviously, magnesium releases or allows the calcium to be released. So, and we drench ours sort of 2 weeks before lambing date, really. We've got a sort of, not trace element, but it's sort of a twin lamb preventative drench we get from the vets. And so we just dose them with that. Always keep a bottle of calcium to hand and a big syringe. Definitely, just in case. You never know. That's the issue. Mineral buckets, all that. A few other things sort of catching when they're lambing. So just in case, 9 times out of 10, they should have a good lambing, fairly easy. But there's always that one that will end up, born in a bag or something. It's not the easiest, you're up checking them sort of 3 times a night. Again, not the biggest operation, but when you know the family bloodlines behind it and the work's gone into them, and they're definitely precious. And the end goal at the moment really is rearing the wether lambs up and killing and cutting and selling the lamb to the locals, which at the moment big push for, definitely. Locally sourced lamb. And it is amazing lamb. I can confirm it is. It is amazing. It's proper lamb.
So where do you want to be eventually then? Where can you see it going?
Further down the line, it's a rough idea at the moment. Possibility is look into keeping us pedigree flock, pure pedigree, and breed quality. Be tough, breed on quality, and then anything that doesn't quite, any ewe lambs or shearlings that don't quite come up to par, look into crossbreeding them and, store lambs. Because at the end of the day, you've got your pedigree flock there, but it suits our system, grazing stubble turnips over the winter, buy a lot of store lambs in, so it'd suit that system at the moment.
Do you think we'll get away with talking about tractors just briefly? I reckon we can mention the foragers. So there's this machine in the yard, right? Where's it come from, James?
Deepest, darkest Herefordshire.
Not originally.
Not originally. It's actually Canadian.
Yeah, so I was going to say they wouldn't really be over here, would they?
There's only, that I know, about 3 in the country.
It's an international trail forager.
Yeah.
But what is it underneath?
It's a Bamford underneath. They made them on behalf of international. They definitely took off over there a lot more than they did here. They got, the likes of Rico and New Holland, they'd already got a fairly well established market. And sort of international just trying to sort of barge their way in almost.
So you came across that to add to the international collection.
Facebook Marketplace did me dirty there. Glad I found that little piece of history. No, so it was originally bought over as a demo machine, along with 2 others. So there were 3 of them that went out demoing, but they just never really took off. I assume a few more were brought in. of that specific model, I don't think there's 3 of, but there's only 3 that I know to anyway.
So if we can sort a few trailers for first
Yeah.
prep, I think it'd be quite exciting.
Silage day
to
incoming.
get some cameras out and have
Yeah.
a bit of a play with some old crunching some gears.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the red oxide
Keep your eyes peeled.
1455.
Oh no, we won't talk about that. We need a paint job before.
Oh, work in progress. So this is one of my shearling ewes. She's a couple of months off lambing yet, but we're just doing something called cratching her out. Usually they'll be flipped over and they'll be done sat on their bum, but we're doing these standing up on the table because they're heavy in lamb. We don't want to risk it really. We're cratching them out more for welfare reasons, just in order so the lambs can get at the teats easier, so they're not, you know, sucking on bits of wool, and yeah, it just helps clear all the muck out around their back end, keeps them dry. Well, conveniently we've got one lambing, as you'll hear, so it's worked out quite well. So yeah, this ewe's just on lambing. Looking at the size of her, she's probably got twins, bless her. So usually to start, they're gonna have gel shown from their back end, and then followed by a water bag, which is what the lamb sort of is within, full of amniotic fluid and all that malarkey. As the lamb sort of reaches birth canal, it's going to come pretty much front feet, or it should come front feet first and then head and nose. So it's like that and it comes out. So just spotted some feet. She's sort of getting up and lying down just with the uncomfortableness of it. The feet sort of, you know, they'll dive back in and out just depending on, you know, where the head is and how hard she's pushing. But, you know, generally once the feet are out, they'll come out fairly quick. Yeah, so really to get involved, if you've sort of got a hung lamb, or if the lamb is backwards, or you've got a leg, so if your front legs are, you know, like that, if you've got one back like that, which obviously, you know, it just she'll struggle a bit, and all you do is, you know, you just help her and get the legs back like that. When they're backwards, it means their bum's coming out first, which is possible, but it's not ideal. Sometimes you'll have twins that are all tangled up in each other, so their legs are all interlocking, so again you sort of have to help with that. But all with this ewe I might just do is just help pull the legs out a bit more and make some space for the head to come out, and just make it easier for her really. But just trying to get these legs out just like that, just so we can make a bit of headway for the head to come out, which we've already got a nose, so it's sort of big pushes, and just like that we got a lamb, and we'll let him slide it out. See, it's a bit yellow. The yellow is a sort of indicator of stress. We're just going to rub it and clear its nose, make sure there's no gel. We're just going to give it a rub and sort of stimulate it to get going. There you go. So she's licking the lamb, and that's sort of stimulating it, and, you know, letting it know it's out, you know, it's in the world. So if we have a quick peek under the wing, we've got a tuck lamb. All we're going to do, we're just going to use some iodine to squirt its navel, which is like their belly button really, and that's just going to stop sort of any infection. A, iodine helps it dry up quicker, and B, it just helps prevent any infection through the navel, because that's where the cord is cut. So just going to strip this one teat out and make sure there is colostrum there available for the lamb. As you can see, it's a bit yellower than normal milk. It's a bit thicker as well, and the colostrum is pretty much full of all the essential nutrients and vitamins. It's a really sort of important part of the lamb's first feed. It's, you know, it's like rocket fuel for the lamb basically. It's full of antibodies, minerals, vitamins, energy. So it's sort of everything a lamb needs to get going when it's first born. So just whilst we're here, the coat I was on about, she's got quite a wavy coat. It's a bit more curly on top and then wavy at the side. Not a perfect coat, but it's a strong coat in my opinion. And like that ewe there, she's a 9-year-old ewe. She's just had twins, and she's, for her age, her coat's really well intact. It's curly all over, with, you know, exception for a back end, but I think for a 9-year-old ewe it just shows really the longevity in these sheep, and especially raising twins. It's really quite good to see. He's what, 5 minutes after birth probably now, and he's talking to mum. You know, he's saying hello, and the most important thing is he's trying to get up. You know, it shows the sort of vigour in these lambs, especially, you know, to try and find food, and although she's got plenty of milk on her, but yeah, it's really quite nice to see taking their first sort of steps and then tumbling over and then, you know, getting back up again, and then in a couple of days he'll be running around. Lamb's first steps, we're probably 10 minutes after birth now, so all in all, not a bad morning.
Pretty stress-free then, James?
Yeah.
It must be if you're watching the auction.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I couldn't make it today, unfortunately, so good on Marti. But no, just maybe went on a bit longer than I'd hoped, but no, you know, happy mum, happy lamb. That's what we like to see, really.
Job done? Right, I'm never filming sheep again.
You love it.
No, I don't.
Can you just chuck me that bottle of...